So recently, something cool has been happening. Uh, in the past couple of years, I realized these free uh, streaming sites they'd have WWE be played on there, and that's pretty cool. When it comes down to it, because there's a few things that you can't find on free streaming sites. Even like in the past, it was really hard to find them, like pay-per-views and game shows. Those two things, they're very hard to find on free streaming sites. But it seems like they're doing WWE now, and that's cool because I used to be a WWE fan growing up. And if they do start uploading them, then I can do little reviews like this on here, like we're about to have. It's a big difference though, that like, eh, not really, because once I watched the show, the first Raw episode of the 2023, that's pretty cool. I don't know if they'll be uploading the NX. I think they'll be uploading NXT too if they upload the Raw ones, but I don't know if they'll be uploading Friday Night SmackDown of this year on the free streaming sites. They should, because they seem like they have interesting stories going on there too. Man, I guess we'll start with the review. Actually, we'll start with NXT because I think that program came on actually before Raw did, and it was like on like basically a Sunday or something. I don't know, Saturday or Sunday. I don't know what day it comes on. Probably even Thursday. But either way, it came on before Raw did, and it was apparently after the New Year. That show is wild. Like, I never really realized this, but in their third show, like they got Raw, SmackDown, and they'll have like their third show. Now they have like or five shows, because counting those like boot camps with Stone Cold or Undertaker, and then any other show that has a WWE star with it. They have quite a lot of shows now. But I think they're going back to like their regular three, not regular. They're probably still going to keep a lot of shows because yeah, they keep adding shows. I realize, which isn't a bad thing because it's not that bad of shows when it comes down to it. I like this. I like most of them honestly, and some of them get pretty brutal because you gotta realize when it comes down to it, these are basically your typical jock meatheads, like on a trying to put on a show for us. Something's gonna snap sometimes, and it's gonna get wild, and that's been shown and proven before in their road to WWE show, like their old. It was like back in 2006 or 2007, and they had a bunch of rookies like that were gonna go end up on NXT, but they had to like train in this house like a Big Brother type of deal show, and like every week they'd do a challenge, but the challenge would basically be a wrestling match, and they'd be trained by like random WWE stars, and one time they threw Triple H in there, and Triple H, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed or something one of these days. He went in that ring with that rookie, and oh my god, he almost murdered that rookie. Like, he pounded him in the corner, and then he's like, "See how real it can get." And I don't think no one even said that. No one was questioning how real wrestling is. And he just had a bad day that day, and he took it out on the people in the show try and train them. But it was good footage, and the dude took it. He was like prepared WWE star. I mean, heck, they didn't let these weren't no normal rookies. These were people that were trained to be on this show. So a beating like that, even though it was a thing, I think it was real. I can't even tell honestly because they never really no one got in trouble for that. So it's like you can't tell if it's real or fake at that point. And it looks so real. Like there was no cuts in this scene, and this dude was like just busted open, like from the nose, from the mouth. Like he looked like he was basically dying, licking blood. Like there's no way you could do that with a razor. I mean, maybe you can. Who knows? Or maybe it was just really that they had that planned really good. Either way, let's get on with the review. If you're gonna be watching NXT, you gotta be prepared for more of a show to be put on, like a soap opera, basically. It's so weird, honestly. It's weird at times. Like with their main events, they'll put on basically mini movies before the match starts. For example, like last week in the main event, one of the guys got dragged off and backstage, and then this week, this following week that we're talking about, it shows him like he's been chained up to a chair this whole week. He's been chained up to a chair and beaten. He has a black eye and a bruised rib, like a bruise on his ribs. And apparently that's what happened over the whole weekend. But I just find it funny. It's like then the guy drops the key. Like this guy's like chained to his chair, so this guy drops the key and he's just like, get ready, your match is next. Like what the? I'm watching. It's like, what am I watching? It feels like the WWE game. It really does. Story mode on the new WWE games. In fact, I see where they get the ideas from now. That was just so wild. And then, like, but not only do they go with the intense factor, but they also will go with the funny factor as well. For example, there's this part of the episode where it's first it starts off with like these females talking about who wants a chance at the NXT Women Championship, and then you got on one side the audience, in comes another female wrestler that starts trash talk. Like they're just straight up trash talking. Like the more that come in, they don't even have nothing to say about the championship. They're just trash talking each other the more that come in. And then so when you're watching it, you're like, dang, this is like a high school girl drama fight. And then sure enough, as soon as you think that, they all just start charging or one of them yells, girl fight. And then they all just start charging at each other in the ring, having like a 20 female fight there. And then two of them, they go off to the side. I don't even know what their side story is, but it interests me right away because at first I'm like, oh, they're just like, they're in it for the attention or whatever. Their match was next apparently, and what they did to start their match was this girl fight scene, this funny little skit that they had. Which was 20 females fighting in the ring. What I thought was cool because I'm a Royal Rumble fan, and it led to their idea for next week of having a 20 female Royal Rumble to see who will be fighting for the NXT Female Championship. So that's cool by me. But the side quest that basically went on, like these two females, they went fighting in backstage, and then apparently their match was right after this talk, and their match was a backstage brawl. And sure enough, they had their backstage brawl, and they brought back to the ring, and that's when they rung the bell for some reason. At this point, I'm a little bit confused because I'm like, well, why do they have to stick to rules like that if it's like, dang, like they should have just rung the bell when they were backstage. They could have finished the match backstage like it was a backstage brawl. But I guess it still worked in its own way. But these two were fierce. They're like, one was called Fire or something, and like, she's the type of person to feed the fire. And it's psycho type. And then you got the other one that was a possessed girl. And then so these two were like, two peas in a pod. And they were fighting. And they were fighting hard too. And the ending of the match, it was just so it's like, wait a second. It makes you think, like, was that girl really possessed or not? This is a spoiler, by the way. If you haven't watched it yet, you might want to watch the match before watching this. I don't know, the first NXT match first NXT event of the year. Hold on, I'm gonna give you some time to skip to give it. If you don't want any spoilers, I'm going to be giving, like every time before I finish talking about a match that tell you how it ended, I'm going to give you these 10-second, 15-second spoilers. That way you can go find the match yourself on YouTube, you know, in case you want to watch it first and not know who wins. Because I don't want to ruin, because that's the whole point of WWE, you know. Don't want to ruin that part. So, now that you had time, in case you had to stop the video to stop the spoiler, this was crazy. It was like, so at the end of the match, of this backstage brawl between the fire chick and the possessed chick. I don't remember their names. I suck with remembering names, and these are all new fighters to me, so there's no way I'm going to be able to remember them right away. Anyways, but if I get to watch her and fight with them again, I'll for sure probably end up remembering them because that was cool. At the end of the match, the possessed chick, she gets thrown on this table, and a girl that plays with fire, she climbs to the top turnbuckle, and then they're both hurt after a while because they really damaged each other. Like it was pretty crazy, the match. Like, of course some of it had to be faked, but sheesh, even if it was faked, that stuff had to hurt like crazy. Oof, what they did, throwing each other off things and stuff like that onto piles of chairs. But yeah, at the end of the match, this possessed chick that was laying on the table, she looks up at the girl climbing the turnbuckle with this creepy smile, and then they cut to a far back feed, like, which, you know, it should be a second later, right? But instead of seeing her like laying there smiling at her, she's back to being passed out, and they're like, wait a second, what the hell did I just saw? You know, and the fire chick jumps from turnbuckle, smashes her through the table. Well, not even smash her through the table, but she like basically bounced off the table somehow. Like the table didn't break, and then so she had to throw her again through the table to make the table break. But that smile at the end there, it was so weird that the announcers even replayed it, and they're like, you see that smile there? Like, why would she smile and just lay back down there and take that loss? Maybe that was weird. It was like some scary movie stuff for real. Like when you watch those possessed movies and then you see people's faces turn for a second to some creepy stuff. That's what it seemed like. It wasn't real. I don't know, it was weird. But that's how good their stories are when it comes down to it. And then I want to talk about how they made Booker T the announcer there. He's an awesome announcer, he really is. So he's doing the job really good. Like where when he sees good moves and like kind of things that would be replayed, he would announce that stuff and tell you like how they're doing it move by move then. But then when they're like just doing the basic, you know, average stuff, that's when he's going to be talking about the fighters and stuff and like trying to entertain the people watching at home. Or he'll be explaining it in a way where it's not really explaining the moves or saying the moves, but he'll be saying, like, you know, explaining how the moves would feel. Which is a good way to announce a wrestling match. His partner, on the other hand, he sucks at it. It really does. Like, he'll sit there and try to explain, like, he even try talking over Booker T when Booker T has some funny stuff to say or interesting stuff to say. And then it's like, dude, why are you explaining move for move on the basic stuff? Like, even when I sit there and, like, play an AI match, AI versus AI, on a WWE game for you all, I know not to, like, sit there and be like, oh, here comes an armbar, and another armbar, and another armbar. You know, I'm not going to tell you all the basic moves there. Once they're having their little basic moves, a warm-up part, I'll be saying some interesting stuff, explaining stuff about the fighters. That's what the other announcer needs to learn. Or they need to get, like, another, some old superstar, too. Wasn't Taz an announcer? That'd be cool, Taz and Booker T. But yeah, I think, and the funny thing is, like, the proof, there's proof actually there in the announcing part that this is like NXT is a whole completely different universe from Raw and SmackDown, because it's like when a Raw or SmackDown character goes to NXT, they basically should just put on a cartoon hat or something, because they're gonna be over exaggerating, they're gonna be overplaying their part. And here's a proof of that. Booker T is a proof. Like, so on Raw or SmackDown, Booker T, when he's announcing for them or on a pay per view event, Booker T's gonna be talking about New Day like, oh wow, New Day is the best and New Day is what the new generation needs and stuff like that. Because on those shows, I'm not sure what really he likes about New Day, to be honest with you. But I think it's because Kofi Kingston on the team, and like he has that dancing move, and like Booker T, everyone that does a dancing move, I think Booker T gets down with. Now here's the weird thing: you see on Raw or SmackDown, Booker T saying they're praising the New Day team, uh, and then when New Day is on NXT, it's a whole different story. Like Booker T sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, you could do better" and stuff like that, like trash talking them, and you don't expect it because he's been so nice to him on the other shows. That's because it's a different universe. He's a character like a old superstar basically playing. But they don't want to make it seem like this. So what they do is they don't really overplay the part too much. Which, like, because if they did, Booker T would stand up and probably beat the other announcer down for over talking over him. But yeah, New Day had a match on NXT, and so one of the Raw members that stick with Raw went to go watch Kofi Kingston in his match, and then that the champion, whoever, I forgot what champion he was. I forgot his name too. Honestly, I forget this guy's name because I always found him annoying in the New Day team. He was always a loudmouth, and loudmouths are annoying to me. But it's so funny because like the team that Kofi Kingston's facing, it's like this other team that does like these very good choreography skills when they come out as a team, and so I think that's why Booker T still likes him though. But yeah, it's like a whole new universe over there on NXT. It really is. So if you're looking to watch a show, like a show, it's that there. And honestly, I don't think it was. Yeah, it was a main event that was like that, where it's like the guy was chained up to a chair. But yeah, it's some weird. It's like you can't really tell what's gonna happen next on NXT. That's for sure. They got that going down good. Now let's start talking about Raw. This is the first Raw of 2023. I watched this actually first. It's interesting because first you got a whole new team that was like Shield or like Team Rated R Superstar. See, these are the teams I know growing up as the bad guys because it was around 2007, or even before that. Like these are the new bad guys, and they're called the Bloodlines or something like that. Something Bloodlines. Something Blood People. Bloody People. The Bloody Team. But but yeah, that what they did was they come in as soon as the show starts and they try to take over, and I think it was an unsuccessful takeover actually, because what ended up happening was basically they got put through the, like, throughout that show, they were they were made the they were made to fight. The whole team there, they had to fight. And so, actually, I don't think the whole team. I think they left the female out. I don't know about that. Forgot about that one. I'm not sure about that one. But anyways, so what they do is they put they do a 3-on-3 tag match, and then they do a 1-on-1 match, and then basically they put the bloody team that try to take over the show in teams by this new manager that looks like Walter White, honestly, from Breaking Bad. I'm not gonna lie. If he grows out a little bit of hair, he'd probably look like Walter White, honestly. And then I'm sitting there wondering, like, who is this guy? What happened to Mr. McMahon? What happened? Like, what the heck? Like, this dude looked like he was like a CEO or something in a suit and everything. I never seen him before, like, as a wrestler. Or he probably was a wrestler, who knows? Like, how Triple H used to own it. Just bald. But, and in a suit. When a wrestler puts a suit on, they look like a whole new person. Like, Big Show in a suit, you'd be like, what the heck? So yeah, with Raw, they had their basic, it was a good show for the most part, but I think it was a little bit nonsense in a way. Like, it felt like it didn't have enough nostalgia to it, honestly. It felt like it was going for it, but it didn't have enough nostalgia to it. Honestly, the thing that most interests me about Raw was Alexa Bliss match there, when because it was so weird. As I was wondering, I was like, wait, if this chick wants to be a monster fighter, like, like Kane or Undertaker, or the typical monsters you see on WWE, why is she fighting for the gold? Like, typically, whenever a monster gets a championship match, it's usually because, like, their handler, or like, they get it by luck. It's never that they want it when it comes to, except for some, like, I don't know, Mankind or something, because he prays it, so like the earn. But I know one wrestler used to do that. They'd praise their championship like an urn. But yeah, as I'm watching their match, I'm wondering, I'm like, why is she fighting for the championship and wanting it so bad, and at the same time looking like she's on the monster side of the team? And then as soon as I start to think that, boom, that big, the big movie thing that where they come out of, I forgot what you call it, projector thing, it starts to flash and show a symbol. And then as soon as it does that, she like, she put, like, she's getting a headache or something, like just having a brain aneurysm or something. And then she snaps, and then like, the referee goes in to check on her, and what she does is, by the way, this is another spoiler alert, so I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to either go find the match yourself, and once again, I don't know who she was fighting. I think it was Becky Lynch, actually, the girl with the hair, the long hair. The girl with the hair. They all got hair. No, the long hair ponytail thing. I think of her as the girl that, like, the wrestler. I whip my hair back and forth. That's what she reminds me of, which is cool, because I know I have a lot of cousins that is a fan of that song. So, anyways, once the movie thing starts to tweak out, and Flash's logo, she starts to go crazy, and then she attacks the ref. Like, she straight up just jumps on the ref and starts swinging on him left and right, left and right. And then Becky Lynch, I think that's her name. I don't think that's her name, actually. I think it's Bianca or something like that. But her opponent, the female champion, she gets up, and then she goes to, like, attack her while she's attacking the ref, but instead Alexa turns and attacks her opponent the same way. And then afterwards, she pulls that opponent out the ring, the champion, and she clears the stairs, and she what'd she do? I think she does a DDT. Yeah, that's what she does. She does a DDT right on the steel stairs to her, and then there's this. This is a pretty funny thing that I thought a little bit sick though. But there's this one little boy that's like, Bianca, get up, you know. And then she's like, she's just passed out. She's there laying down, passed out, and Alexa's walking off, about to go backstage, and she gets halfway up the ramp, and then out of nowhere it shows her coming back to the champion, and she gives her like the little boy's just like looking at the champion down there like, is she going to get back up or what? And then all of a sudden he doesn't even realize, but Alexa Bliss is back and she gives her another DDT right on the stairs, and this time she's bleeding out her mouth and stuff, a bunch of blood, and the boy's just like like he's looking at the other people that are sitting next to him like, is she dead? And you could tell it messed up the boy because in the main event they like there's a split second they show the same boy again, and then he's just like, oh my god, like he has his hands covered over his head like some Home Alone stuff, like he can't believe what he's seeing. I forgot what, I think it was the main event that showed him like that, but I forgot the matches that were that one. Honestly, the Raw one, it was okay, but wasn't the best because it's like they're putting all their story work into the NXT matches or something. Because there's only like there wasn't that much story arc to Raw other than like what was happening from last year, and which was I guess Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio got into some beef, and like so for this Christmas or New Year's, Dominic goes over the. I'm just realizing it was like only a week, and he acted like he was in jail for like 2 months or something. But Dominic goes over to Rey Mysterio's house and shoves Rey Mysterio in the chest because he's not inviting him in the family party or something. And then so um, I think Rey Mysterio's wife goes to slap Dominic, but Dominic's girlfriend. So Dominic Mysterio, he gets thrown in prison for what I'm realizing is only 2 weeks. But hey, look, with our new generation, with the generation like me and younger, we can't handle being locked up for 2 weeks. It really does a toll on our brain. After we get out, even, later on down the road, we still think about it, even if it's just 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks too long. So I understand him saying stuff like, you don't understand what prison could do to a man, even though it's been 2 weeks he's been locked up. Hey, for our generation, you really probably don't understand. The older generation doesn't. There's no doubt they don't, because they're willing to throw us, let's go scare them straight. Next thing you know, we come out there and we're scaring you all straight. It's life. What I find cool to this though is that now people are seeing Rey Mysterio's actual character. Before, most people would write Rey Mysterio off as a high flyer, a risk taker, kind of like Jeff Hardy in a way. Truthfully, he's not. He's more of a good or bad character when it comes to the show than just a regular high flyer character. And I could tell this because growing up, I watched the dude. He teamed up with the most meanest people, then he saved the most good people. And now I'm realizing it's because he had one agenda in mind. He didn't care about the other fighters at all, even though he helped out, the people that were praised by so many, or even teaming with the people that were hated by so many. He didn't care about them when it came down to it. He's not a team player. What he cares about is keeping that mask on. So in my point of view, I view Rey Mysterio now as an insane fighter. like an insane fighter. That's what he is. That's how he fights. That's the road he's taken, you know? He's not doing what's good or he's not doing what's bad. It's really roll up the dice. And that's what insane fighters do. They roll the dice and they see what they get, you know? Unlike with the bad fighters, which are, you know, the monster type of fighters, they have an agenda in mind, or their main goal is, like, you know, the show fear, to have everyone fear them as much as possible. The good fighters, they want to be loved as much as possible. You know, they all got an agenda when it comes down to it, a main goal with their role. Now, I want to see Dominic Mysterio actually change into the character that he's claiming to change into, which is going to be some kind of gangster fresh out of prison. If that's the case, I want to see it happen. I want to see him, like, actually be able to put fear into opponents, because that's what he's going for with his new character. And also, it'd be good lesson for WWE to teach the world. Like, look, people change. And maybe it was okay for back then to throw someone in prison or jail or whatever, psych ward, for 2 weeks to teach them a lesson. But nowadays, it don't work like that anymore. That's called unfairness. That's called injustice. And revenge will be served for those who do it. That's the truth. You lock us away for a lesson, we're going to hate you for the rest of our lives. And you best believe there will be a time when vengeance will come. You can't break us, but we sure can break the world, is all I'm saying. So don't even try. Especially with these stupid old people that think they could break us when we're adults. Like, after we learn everything that we need to know and our minds are fully developed, that's the time they decide to use a scared straight program on us. Are you serious? Are you stupid? You're going to send me somewhere where I can learn from and come out of even stronger, is what you're doing. That's all you're doing. You see, you do it with kids that with the undeveloped mind, it'll actually scare them straight, because they're not going in there like thinking that they can learn anything when it comes down to it. Some of them maybe because they're born badass, I guess. But most of them are going in there being scared and, you know, not learning nothing from it. But someone with a fully developed brain, they're going to go in there, they're going to gain fans. They're not only going to gain fans and friends, but they're going to gain knowledge that wasn't taught to them on the outside. Okay? That's how it works. That's how it works. And then we come out and we're like, well, we got something to teach the world now. And it's true. It's true. I taught my viewers all about the psych ward system here, around here, and most other places, and how it's more helpful for the psych ward workers than it is for the psych ward patients. They'll keep you in there for as long as possible for the top dollar. They don't care when it comes down to it. Maybe one or two of them actually do care working there, but when it comes down to it, most of them only care about the money. And to have someone to work with psych ward patients like that, there's something wrong with the system. There is. How to fix it? I don't know, because, you know, when it comes down to it, I wouldn't want to ask a nice person, a good person, kind-hearted person to go do a job that's that dangerous. That job could become dangerous. You gotta realize you're working with the unpredictable people. Even when you're on the top floor with the supposed most sane people, you know, with people that work there just for money, you gotta understand, you don't got the best intentions. So therefore, your most sanest people on the top floor most likely aren't the most sanest people in that building. Because they were moved there because it was part of the job. it wasn't clear. It wasn't cleared rightly. It was just part of the job. So if you decide to take that work, and if you think you're safe in that work just because you work with the top floor of a psych ward, good luck with that. So yeah, with Raw's story, they got Rey Mysterio still in it as the main plot, and now Rey Mysterio threw his son in the jail for over some family drama over the holidays, Christmas holidays, and that's the story they're going with right now. Now Dominic Mysterio is going to come out and back to wrestling as a thug, I guess, more of a thug, kind of like how John Cena was in the past. You know, John Cena started that rapping character, and once he started that rapping character, he became a straight up thug. I'm not sure what led him to that character, but because it was kind of before my time, before I was watching that, I'm not gonna lie. But Dominic Mysterio, you know, pretty obvious. He said so himself. Jail changes a man. You don't understand what time could do to a mind. Something like that. Prove it. Show it. You have to. The ball's in your court now. I hope he does show it. You know, I wanted to see him become this gangster-like thug that takes over a show. Whether it be Raw, SmackDown, NXT, I don't care. I want the world to see, you know, yeah, the system, it's messed up, and it's messing up the people more than it's messed up itself. You got a chance to show that. I hope you show that. That's kind of why I'm doing the review on it. Also, because I really do hope that they keep uploading more shows, because then I could do this, you know, weekly or something. Maybe even get back into wrestling. Who knows? I might actually, like, become bored with it and actually stop doing the reviews. But that's on WWE when it comes down to it. If they give me nothing interesting to talk about for one episode, then that's it. That's it. That's when I'm pulling the plug. Because that's just the way how WWE is. They think they can, like, pull off these boring shows, or they'll pull off one good show and then two boring shows. You know, that don't keep your fans. You gotta keep your fans. They're not really thinking about the fans anymore. At least that's how it feels, in my opinion. Anyways, I hope the show goes on good this year. Raw does at least Raw. Honestly, I could care less about NXT or SmackDown, even though NXT is pretty entertaining. It's just too weird to watch. It's more like a soap opera than a wrestling event. SmackDown, I haven't got to watch that yet this year, but hopefully it's a good one tonight. Hopefully it's uploaded to the site too, so I can actually watch it to begin with. But it's really untelling. Because once again, you need a fan to upload those shows when it comes down to it. And you don't got the strongest fan base like you used to. WWE, that's the truth. That's the truth. The way I used to be a fan of WWE compared to now, as I'm older, it's way different. Before, I'd be wanting to go to a show and hold up a sign I created myself. Now, I barely even want to go to one of them shows, honestly. I think it's just good enough to watch at home.